Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Long time no see. Glad to finally be back in the captain's chair here and to do another vlog. I don't always feel up to doing them, but I do the best I can. It makes me feel good to do them, so thank you for your patience. It's been a while since I've been able to do one. A lot of stuff going on, which I'm anxious to delve into. Quite often I show my pickups videos, and I'll talk about games I'm excited to come out and all that. And I've showed my game room a couple times in a couple tour videos. But one thing I haven't really discussed is what was the genesis of my game collection or building a game room. I had never even had a game room before, not one like this. And so I thought I'd share kind of my evolution or deconstructing how my game room was built. And really the heart of it. What was the heart of my collection? This isn't just a result of happenstance of just coming across these games and all of a sudden one day, hey look, check it out, I got a game collection. It took a long time and a lot of planning and a lot of kind of evolving and changing my plans along the way. As like many of you know, and I've mentioned a couple times, for years I was just into what was new. I had the C64 and thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then later on, I'd see new, systems coming out, and I was kind of excited and kind of looking on the sidelines. I had a friend that had a Super NES, and like, wow, the Super NES is really where it's at. So I started getting Super NES games. I had maybe 30 games. I had close to 100 games for the Commodore 64. And the minute I got my Super NES, I was so excited about the colorful sprites and the music and everything in this. I'm like, wow, this is such an advantage over the C64. So I gave my friend Mikey, I gave him my C64 and almost 100 games. He was thrilled. A good friend of mine from Canada. Him and his sister moved down from Canada down to Orange County. They didn't have much money. And so for quite a while, I was his boss at work for a while, and he kind of had him under my wing and would always give him deals. I was happy to help out. He loved that C64. I was just thrilled to play my Super NES. So we became good friends, and when I did get the, the 1995 with the PlayStation, he would come over quite a bit. He was one of my favorite split-screen partners in crime. God, we played a shitload of Twisted Metal and, split-screen and taking turns playing Road Rash, and Road Rash 3D. Back in the day, really good times, And then each system, I would get rid of that new system, and I'd be on to the next thing. Went on to the PlayStation 1, and then quickly, gave a family member my Super NES and my 30-odd games for that. Sure, I regret it looking back on it, but, I have friends of mine, like my friend Jeremy and my friend Silverwings21. Both of these fellows have been gaming for a long time. Now, I've been gaming for 44 years. If I came to think of it the other day, I said, my God, it's been that long? 1975, I played the first Pong game, and I had played some vector graphics games around that time in the arcades. We lived in Bethany Beach, a place called Bethany Beach, Delaware, in a big high-rise condominium right on the ocean. And Ocean City, Maryland was just right next door, right across the border. And so I went to Ocean City, Maryland with my dad. We played a lot of, computer games. Pinball games, but they started in kind of bringing in those vector graphics machines and games, which were really cool back then. And then we had a friend of my dad's was a doctor, and he got his family the first Pong set up in '75. We went over there after church one day, and we're playing Pong, and I was just blown away. I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So it's been 44 years. I can't believe it's been so long. I've been playing games this long. So I've seen the evolution, and I'm still someone that's excited for new-gen games and, for new technology. I want to see things improve. Not, like I said before, not everything that's new is worth embracing. Sometimes we have to be careful what we wish for and what we embrace. The Google Stadia and a lot of that stuff, a lot of people are thrilled about that kind of a thing, and as long as they offer both and I can still choose to play my games offline via an actual console, that's fine with me. Let people have what they want. Give everyone something that they can do. Not everyone has a space. Not everyone has a desire to collect things, and I didn't. I had the PlayStation 1, and then when I'm done playing the games, I'd trade them or give them away and just buy new ones. I would rarely go back to games, and unless I had a friend that would come over. Hey, Dean, where's that? My friend Chris, where's that Duke Nukem Time to Kill? And I'd have all the new games, but we'd go back to playing the same games over and over and taking turns doing the challenge modes and speed runs on them. And we've gone through that game so many times backwards and forwards and trying to see how fast we can beat it and speed run it. And I still love that game to this day. And that got me thinking about this video that I'm making now, Duke Nukem Time to Kill, and how my friend Chris would come up, and I got the PS2, and he came up, like, dude, where's that Duke Nukem Time to Kill? I said, oh, dude, I got rid of that, man. I got rid of the PS1, all those games. What, you're kidding me? You got rid of Nukem? I said, yeah, man. I said, I miss it. I mean, I hated to get rid of it, but, this PS2, check this out. We got Twisted Metal Black. This is a way better game, and I get him going on Manhunt and the latest games. But, I mean, in the back of my mind, it bugged me that I got rid of something that meant that much to me. It's like, God, I really should have kept some of those games. And I had my daughter, I got her a PS1, and I got her a lot of the new Twisted Metal Small Brawl, and a lot of the Ratchet and Clank type games, and those kind of cutesy, cartoony type games. I was in my 40s when the PlayStation 2 came out, so I was like an old man. I know there's some people, they were like a kid in grade school when the PS2 came out. So to them, they have completely different memories. To me, I was playing SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2 on the PlayStation 2, and Twisted Metal Black, and more mature games, Manhunt 1 and 2, and, Wolfenstein, Return to Castle, and all that. I mean, to me, that's where my PlayStation 2 days were. And again, time would go on, and then eventually, we lost everything down in Southern California, came up to Northern California. I still had my PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and I hung on to them along with those 6th-gen games, which I had whittled down. I had down to maybe 10 or 12 tops. I would just keep trading them in. We had a game store in the high desert. We didn't have much, so I didn't know about a lot of 6th-gen games because we get very limited sources. Games would come in. So there were tons of games that I never even knew about until the internet came out. And I go back, oh, wow, there was a Deus Ex for the PlayStation 2. I didn't know. I wasn't aware of a lot of these games. Total Overdose. I'd never even heard of this till just a year ago. And it looks like it's one of the coolest open world games for the Xbox and PlayStation 2. It's amazing to me how we're continuing to learn through the internet, but that's part of my story anyway. So we came up here, and 2008 was a really bad year. I bought Twisted Metal Head On. I think it was the last brand new game that I bought from my PlayStation 2. I did bring the PS2 up with me. I think I left my Xbox behind. The PS2 was a little bit more portable. I could take it with me. Had just a couple games, Twisted Metal Black still. I kept playing that. I'd beaten that backwards and forwards so many times. And I just played my favorite games, and my nephews were there at my sister's. I stayed with her for a while. I was getting set up in Northern California. So I loved to play with my nephews, PlayStation 2. Hey, Uncle Dean, where's that Godfather game, and we'd play the Godfather game. And a lot of these old PlayStation 2 games back at the time. And really good memories and good times, but then I really wanted an Xbox 360, and I had to wait a long time for one. Excuse me. I'm still trying to get comfortable. Back is going to be an issue, but I'll do this as quickly as I can. So I was interested in, in getting an Xbox 360. When they first came out, I didn't know about them until they were already out, and they were like $1,000 on eBay. And remember, the price went down to $800. My wife goes, "God, I can get one for $800. Should I bid on one?" I go, "It's just so much money, And it was too much for me at that time. I couldn't spend it. We were really in dire straits financially. I could not rationalize it. So there was a big period in time with the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. I just couldn't focus on that. I had bigger fish to fry, with worrying about my future and my finances. And so we made a really tough transition to Northern California. I had to leave a lot of things. I left a Silver Anniversary 79 Trans Am, left it on my half acre there in Apple Valley when we left the high desert. Literally left it behind. I told my friend, dude, the keys are in it. If you want it, it's got a blown head gasket, keep it. Get it out of there if you want. But I had to leave ladders, tools behind, vehicles behind. We took the clothes on our backs, and I took my 74 Z28 Camaro and my Bronco and my wife's brand new Chevy Cavalier she had at the time. We headed up north. We made it work. It was tough. So gaming was like a low priority. So that was a tough year. But 2009, things were picking back up, and I went back to gaming. In fact, by then I resurrected my original Xbox. I went back to playing Xbox games, playing games like Reservoir Dogs, which was a big hit at the time. I remember buying the Godfather also. I got the Xbox version, started playing that quite a bit. My nephews would come over and love that Godfather game. So I was playing a few of these Xbox games, and I got the Manhunt version of Manhunt for the Xbox as well, and started playing that. And then games like Freedom Fighters, that was one I discovered a little late, but my God, what a beautiful game. I love this game. In fact, Steve Baker just came by recently and said, Dean, here's, I got your Freedom Fighters back, polished the thing out to perfection. It installed beautifully with no errors on my modded Xbox, and that's going to be one of the games I'm going to play next. So it's been an exciting time. In fact, Steve was here. I showed him my progress on my art, which, by the way, I forgot to... I was going to film this and put my new painting behind me, so I'll just do the next best thing and do a little editing trick. And there you have it. There's a Wolfenstein, my first new gaming art. Enjoy it, guys. I had a lot of fun with this one. I kept it pretty simple. I'm working on 2 other ones right now that are drawn, cut out, and I'm about halfway done with one of the other ones. I can only spend so much time working. I'm trying to find ways to paint them. That's not too much on my neck and my back, so it's been problematic, but it's working. I'm finding a way through it, and sometimes I do them standing up at my dining room table. Seems to work best so far. So I'm kind of doing that. But you can see it came out beautiful. It's just like my other Escape to Gaming sign, but with more detail. I put a little bit of airbrushing and shading in it, and some nice little drop shadows, and they look very dynamic. They look so good. I'll show a little panoramic, pan view here, taken with my GoPro, but I just love these things. I think they're really going to be hot sellers. They're not for everyone, but for people that want something kind of over the top in their game room, picking their favorite franchise or what have you, I think they're going to be really cool. So I'm working on a lot of cool ideas, and for some other ones too, coming up that comic book related and gaming and sci-fi related. They're going to be really cool. So anyway, enjoy what's left in my vlog with this. But so around that time, finally I saw the price. This, in fact, this is taken from the 2009 Wolfenstein game. That game came out. Oh, I think it was it August or September, November? I can't remember. It was kind of late in the year, I believe. And the day that Wolfenstein 2009 came out in 2009, they just lowered the price of the Xbox 360 down to $249 for the new Black Elite model. It had a 120 gig hard drive, I believe, and it had the new improved Falcon chip, so it didn't have the problem with the chip would overheat and pop off the board. I mean, it was a good one. I never had a problem. Like my friend I donated to back east still has it today for all I know, and it's been pretty good for him as well. So the older ones were built well. But anyway, so I finally bought it, and I got the games, but we were so tight for money at the time, it was really a stretch for me to spend that kind of money. We were still getting back on our feet. So much had to be done, and we wanted to save up and buy another house. So my priorities were in place, but I wanted a game, I'm like, damn. So by then I discovered Classic Game Room. I'm really enjoying the review of Wolfenstein and other games, and oh, this is great, and I had maybe 20 games left from my PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and even some PlayStation 1 games I kind of hung on to over the years. I'm like, God, I could donate these to Classic Gamer. It'd be kind of cool to see them review my games, and their show, and that way they could live on. I've kind of got my mileage out of them or whatever. So I did that. I sent them, and of course they said, well, could we use some of these for CGR Undertow? It's a new show we want to do. I said, yeah, go ahead. Mark can review some of them. It'd be great, which he did. And then the guys at CGR Undertow reviewed the rest of them. And the rest is history. They were fun reviews. I'm glad I did it, and I would do it again. But then watching the reviews, I said, God, now the game looks really good. Now I really want to play this. Now, Mark reviewed my Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I'm like, God, why did I get rid of it? So by then I got a Steam account, and I actually ordered it off Steam, but I didn't realize that the PC port of it is very different from the PlayStation 2 port and the Xbox port. This is a lot longer, more game in the PlayStation 2 single player, which I didn't realize. And then playing with a mouse and keyboard, I just couldn't do it. A year I tried to do it, guys. I just couldn't get into it. I played Manhunt 2 so I could see the uncensored executions. And it was the same thing. I had a hard time with it playing them. But so, and I would just take the rest of the games I had. Most of the good ones I did the Classic Game Room. Then I had another, maybe a dozen left of Xbox games. And I just traded those in, like my Godfather, 1 game, and, my Reservoir Dogs and Freedom Fighters, all these games, I'd already beat them and played them. So I just donated all of these and traded them in, which I could get new, by then I discovered a Dimples. We had a Dimples in town. Oh, and by the way, to interject, Steve, when he came over and brought me my Freedom Fighters, he goes, Dean, did you hear the latest? Dimples is shutting down all their stores. I go, dude, no, you can't be kidding. So I'm shocked. In fact, I looked in my emails, they're filled with coupons, 40% off on everything in the store. They're not taking any new trades. They just want to get rid of their inventory and they're going to blow it out cheap. It couldn't come at a worse time. I mean, now I'm not allocating any money for games or DVDs or CDs, so there's nothing I can do about it. I told Steve there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I'd love to take advantage of it. It's torture for me right now where I don't have, disposable income to spend. But, I feel bad. I mean, that was one of the best things about living in Sacramento is we had like 7 Dimple stores. If one didn't have it, one of them would have what you need. And because of Dimples and them closing, that was another reason why I wanted to talk about my genesis of my collection. So, the 360 was great. I traded all those games in. It bought me a couple. I think I got like GTA 4, for $20 used or something. And I bought some other, like a couple games. So I got some mileage out of those old games. I was just digging the Xbox 360, the new graphics, shiny graphics, and everything looked really good. Looked really good on it. I was really pleased with those graphics. I'm like, man, this is where it's at. Now I finally got a next gen, I was so excited. So it's like, why play these old games and all this? But at the same time, I'm immersed in YouTube and I'm watching so much Classic Game Room and then other reviewers that are going back to many of these old games. And I started missing them. And I'm like, wow. And when I went to Dimples, and meanwhile, I'm getting my, Xbox 360 games and buying them there. But I'm looking in the glass cases. They're selling PlayStation 2 Slims for $40. They've got, clean original Xbox units working for $40 all day long. Many of them are virtually like brand new. So many trade-ins because everyone was going for the next gen. I'm like, God, I could actually buy these back in time. So right about by 2012, it took me about 3 years of like debating it, but I didn't do it. I was still enjoying that 360, and eventually I got a PlayStation 3 on right before Valentine's Day when Twisted Metal came out, for the PlayStation 3. I think it was 2012 or 11, whatever. So I had the best of both systems, and I had maybe 15 to 16 games for those two systems. Not many, but I was enjoying my time with those games. And, Max Payne 3 came out, and I was loving that, and Singularity, made by Raven, who did Wolfenstein, I played that and loved it. I was like, God, this is really getting good. I'm liking the new gen. But again, more time went by, I'm watching more Classic Game Room, and I'm seeing more other retro gaming sites on there, and I'm like, I miss these old experiences. And the older you get, by now I'm in my 50s, by 2012, I had my 50th birthday, and I'm like, fuck, I kind of regret getting those now, But then I thought about it, and I said, fuck it, these PlayStation 2 Slims look like they're pretty reliable. I had gone through 7 PlayStation 2s, so I hadn't had the greatest track record. So initially, I'm like, I don't know if I'm up to these. And I talked to one of the guys who said, dude, these new PS2 Slims are bulletproof. They're much better. They don't have the problems of the old ones. And I realized by living in the desert where I lived, that was the problem. The lasers were getting a lot of dust on them. They were getting disk error reads. So it really wasn't the problem with bad PS2s. If I could have had them cleaned out, they probably would have worked fine. So I was throwing it away for nothing. So I got a PS2 Slim, and it still works today. It works great for $40 with a little power pack, and it works great. And play my PlayStation 1 games on it, and they work great. There's a couple PS1 games that have some problems playing, the real early ones, but like Return Fire doesn't play well. You have to play that on really a PlayStation 1. But I really enjoyed playing these old games, and I just started with a PS2. And I remember I went out and I bought, I got some of these games I immediately got Return to Cap. By then these games were like $2.99 each. No one wanted them. Back in 2011 and 12. These were like, no one cared. These were like people that couldn't afford a new gen system. They can go in for a couple bucks and leave with some games. So I got Red Faction again. These are the 2 games that sold me in FPS games. I got Roadkill again. I bought Twisted Metal Black again and Head On. I got Manhunt 1 and 2 again. Beautiful games. And then later I got games, like from Metal Jesus videos, Splashdown Rides Gone Wild. Wow, what a very cool game. and Deus Ex and other games, you know, that were great games that I'd missed at the time because I didn't know about the internet. That's the beauty of the internet, is that you could see every game ever made, and you could just focus on 3DO games. And there's someone that just has a whole channel dedicated to 3DO and other vintage systems, and they'll show you all the games you can get, and the games that were rare, and the games that are easy to get, and where to get them. And so I started learning about games, and that's kind of got wet my whistle for collecting. And by 2012, I said, fuck it, I'm all in. And I went out and I got maybe a dozen of these, you know, PlayStation 2 games. And then I started buying a lot of them, you know, like Reservoir Dogs and Freedom Fighters and Black. And a lot of these I was buying PlayStation 2 versions of them. And then all of a sudden I started saying, I kind of really miss the Xbox. I miss that opening scene. And I love, my Xbox had never had a problem. I went through 7 PlayStation 2s, but only 1 Xbox. I said, God, that really was a really reliable console. Maybe I should get another Xbox, because I started seeing tons of Xbox games. In fact, they even had a brand new factory sealed Stubbs the Zombie for $19.99. I could have bought it at my Dimples over here in Citrus Heights. Now that game's like $100 and up, you know. But I mean, that's how cheap they were. Brand new factory sealed Stubbs the Zombie for $20. But I could still buy all these games for like $3 and $4 a piece. Some of them were like $5 or $7 because they were a little bit more rare. But I had no problem. I was buying them up. So then I went and kind of traded back some of the multi-plats. I really like the Xbox versions better, so I started trading in, and I got the Black for the Xbox and traded in the other one, and Cold Fear, Freedom Fighters, and Reservoir Dogs. A lot of these I traded the PS2 versions in. Now some of them, like Roadkill, I kept the PS2 version, and I have the Xbox. Manhunt, I have the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. I've got all the PS2 Grand Theft Auto games, and I've got the original Xbox ones. So, you know, and I even got some downloaded for the PlayStation 4 and for the PS3 as well. So, and for the Xbox 360 with San Andreas remastered. So, I have a lot of games, even digitally done. And I started getting into collecting these games, and that's kind of how this grew. Then I said, well, now I'm going to have to get an analog TV. So I started looking on Craigslist. I found a woman that had a really clean Sony Trinitron for $25. In fact, I couldn't even grind her down on it. I was so thrilled to see a Trinitron. I would have paid her $50 for it if she had asked for it. I didn't even try to talk her down. I go, here's your $25. She goes, oh, okay, well, thank you. She probably was prepared to take less. I was just so thrilled to have it. Heavy as a motherfucker. My wife helped me carry it out and put it into my truck. We tied it down, you know, so it wouldn't flip over in my back of my truck, and got it home. My wife said, God, why are you dragging home another one of these old analog TVs? Don't you? We got new Samsungs. We don't need these. I said, yeah, but to play these old games, I need it. You know, she was, all right, whatever. You know, so we got it in here, and then later I had a customer that gave me a 32-inch Toshiba, which I got rid of now. I hated to get rid of it. It was mint condition, but I had someone that wanted it, an older TV, was looking for that model, and it was perfect. So I try to find a home for my things. You know, I'm happy to pass on the savings of someone else, give them a good deal. I just like to see that they have a good home, and it makes me feel good. But man, my God, between my PlayStation 2 Slim and my analog TV, I was in hog heaven that whole summer playing Road Rash 3D all over again. Went through the whole game of Roadkill, half of Twisted Metal Black. I mean, having a really good time. And then I got the original Xbox, and I got some component cables, went down to Radio Shack, and they got some component cables, and was really enjoying the process, playing these old games, and I tried them with composite, then I tried them with like S-video cables component. Like, man, they look so much better. So that's how it kind of started. Initially, I was just going to get just the games that I missed. I just wanted just my favorites again. Maybe 20, 25 games, of all these games that I played and replayed and loved. And that's what I did, is I went and I got them all. I got the PlayStation 2 mostly for exclusives. Some of the Star Wars games are exclusive just to the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube, so I got those. This I found in mint condition for $20. This is going for, a lot more money than that now. So a lot of the games, some of them I had to pay a little more for because they were somewhat rare. But rarely did I pay that much back in 2012 and 13. You could get really good deals on games, video games, dirt cheap. And so I started saying, okay, well, next I'm going to go after games that maybe I haven't played. Like I really loved From Russia with Love. But I never played, you know, Everything or Nothing. So maybe I'll get that and try it. It's made by the same devs and Eurocom, and it could be great, you know. And these 007 Nightfire. So I said, okay, well, I'll get... I don't want to get like every North American Xbox game, which is, you know, there's over 1,000 of them, 1,500, 1,300, whatever it is, quite a few. It would cost you a fortune today. If you had to do that today and go after that goal, you're going to spend some serious money. Some of those games, they're not even that fun. They're just the rare games. They're very 100 and something bucks per game, just to be able to say you have an American Xbox North collection. I mean, for my friend Jeremy that was smart enough to get it early on when those games were like $1 a piece or something, that's fine. But so to me, I'm just like, well, I don't want to, you know, have a whole Xbox collection. I just want the games that I love, my favorites. And then I want to get some games that maybe I haven't played. So a lot of these James Bond games I had never got to. So I said, you know, I'll get all 5 of the James Bond games for the original Xbox. That's a goal I could easily attain for a few bucks each. They were very affordable. So I did that. And then I started going after games like Total Overdose, Urban Chaos. These are games that came late in the Xbox cycle, which they should have ported them over for the 360, but they didn't. And by then I was mostly focused on the 360. So there are a lot of really good games by Rocksteady. In fact, I'm right in the middle of this one right now. I want to do a review of this. Great games, beautiful games. I have so much fun on these. And so I was having fun by Area 51. I had never played. You know, I remember seeing it on the shelves at the time. Just wasn't sure if I would like it. I played this, the PlayStation 2 version, loved it. So I bought the original Xbox version. Then I got some games that were, you know, looked very cool, but I didn't know if I would like them. But I did my research, and I said, I'll get them if I can find them affordably. So I got Call of Cthulhu, which is going for big bucks. Now I got this for $12.99, dirt cheap. Test Drive Eve of Destruction, same price, $12.99. These games are going upwards of $60 to $100 now, some of these. Very expensive. But I was lucky I looked early enough, years ago, when they were still relatively cheap, to get them. This one I had to pay, you know, like $26 for this. This is kind of a pricey one, but I really wanted it. And I wasn't seeing it at Dimples, so I went to one of the more retro stores. They sell very clean merchandise, but they're pricey. And I paid top dollar for this. Paid $27 for Predator Concrete Jungle. Now, would I have liked to have gotten it for $1.50? Well, of course, you know. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I see a lot of guys that do pickups videos, and they go to pawn shops. Oh, yeah, I got all these for $1. Dollar. Bought this. I guess this is good. I don't know. This, but all for $1. Pretty good, huh? And it's like, that's their video collection. It's like, well, dude, do you even care about those? You don't have a lot of passion involved with your pickups videos. I mean, the whole idea is you want to get something that you can see yourself really enjoying. It's like not a challenge to see if I can get 400 Xbox 360 games overnight and to see how fast I can do it and how cheap I can do it. Some people look at it like there's a reward in it and for getting games for less than $1 a piece or something. I don't get that. And I don't get the guys that are out to screw people. I saw one video over a month ago of a guy that ground a woman down on some prices on some games, and then he reluctantly went to pay her. She didn't count the money right, gave him back the same money. Basically, he got the games for free because she just wasn't using her head apparently. And he makes a video and he's like raving about it, bragging about how he screwed her over, and but if she's too stupid to see it, that's on her. You know, and I'm like, and I saw that. I like really get under my skin. I'm like, dude, that's kind of uncool. I put in the comments, you really should go back and give her the money back for that. I mean, she obviously made a mistake with counting it, And then someone else in the comments said something similar. And then right away, he kind of thought about what he did. Oh, yeah, no, I went back and I gave her the money back. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I don't buy it. No, you made the video. You gloated in the video about it. Then you edited the video. And then you took the time to upload the edited video that you put together and you made. You wanted people to see that you got the better end of that deal. So I don't buy. To me, after the fact, oh, I went back and paid her. Sure, you did. I don't believe it. And it wasn't soon after that I stopped watching that fellow. I just said, these people are shysters. These people are out for themselves. They're mask slips. You see the real them behind the scenes, and you say that's not someone I want to follow. So YouTube is filled with a circus of there's good channels and there's bad channels. There's amateur hour, and then there's really good videos that you can learn, hidden gems and pickups videos. I try to have mine of quality where there's something you can learn about games, because I know a lot about 5th and 6th gen games in particular. That was kind of my apogee in gaming. So I like to share those experiences, but I stay away from the negative ones. The ones that are just all about drama and ripping apart John Hancock and Metal Jesus, just the same as mindless. That's the only way they can grow their channels is with negativity and like parasites, feeding off from the success of other people's and resenting their success, whatever. Those guys, I wish them no ill. I don't know, I don't follow them, I don't watch all their videos. I just watched some of the Hidden Gem videos. Metal Jesus did a great thing on this new pound cable thing for the Xbox. I watched it. I thought it was good. I liked this video, you know, but that's it. I don't send him Patreon money. I don't put him up on a pedestal. I found out about some of the, you know, those Xbox games. Splashdowns, Rides Guns Wild, and Downhill Domination, I found out from his video on Hidden Gems. I played both of them. They're great games. So, dude, thanks for the tip, you know. Didn't cost me anything. It's all free. That's what I love about YouTube. So, because of YouTube, it's been educational for me. Back in the early 2000s, I didn't know about the internet. I wasn't on it. I didn't know about all these games available. I didn't know about, you know, Classic Game Room or YouTube channels till like 2008 or 9. So it opened up a world. So now all of a sudden I'm looking at GameCube games. You know, I didn't realize that these were exclusive to the GameCube. Once I realized about this, then I set my sights on getting these 2 games for the GameCube, and I had a very generous donation of a backwards compatible Wii. Thank you again, my friend. I love that thing. I plugged it into my TV. I only had it hooked up once and played the beginning of both of these just to see how good the graphics look. Very impressive. I'm anxious to play more of it. I've got to spend more time with my Wii. Right now I'm on a modded Xbox kick. A few months back I was on a PS1 kick, but now I'm really looking forward to getting some of these. I only have 4 or 5 of these GameCube games, but now my collection's more or less done for the PlayStation 2 and for the original Xbox. I'm kind of branching out as I can afford them. They're kind of pricey, some of these games. But as I can afford them, over time, I'll get probably another 10 or 12 GameCube games, and I'll be set. I've got pretty much what I want. I might get a Panasonic 3DO down the road with maybe a half dozen games, just very few. But I have a very realistic goal with my collection. You know, I've got a couple hundred PlayStation, original Xbox games. I got over a couple hundred Xbox 360 games. I've got, I don't even know how many, not very many, maybe 30 or so, or 40 PlayStation 2 games. But the collection I have is a doable collection. These are games that I can see myself enjoying right now while I have the time, or when I retire in particular. I'm going to have all the time in the world. And so that's what I set my sights on. Even the newer games I'm buying. I went down to GameStop. Oh, I can reach these over here. Recently, I had $22 in credit. So I got Homefront: The Revolution, dirt cheap, Titanfall 2, and I think Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for like $3. I mean, I got all of these games for less than 22 bucks. Brand new. I had credit. I never use my Pro Rewards points. They accrue, and every now and then the woman says, "Oh, the gal at my GameStop, Dean, you can use your Pro Rewards point. You got 20-something bucks saved up." I go, "Okay, well, I'll use them for that then." I still want to finish Call of Duty World War II. I'm about halfway into this. This is outstanding, by the way. I really enjoyed this. I'm on the last level of the big red one on my original Xbox, Call of Duty. Such a good game. I want to be reviewing that one soon. Man, it's a really hidden gem for the original Xbox or the PlayStation 2, and I think the GameCube as well. A very good game. And that's what I'm building my channel on. I just watched the other night, we watched The Punisher Season 2 on Netflix, as I've had the time to sit and watch it. And then I watched the 2004 Thomas Jane Punisher, and I saw that there was a trailer for the game, which came out at the same time. In fact, Thomas Jane does the voiceover work for the Punisher game. So I've got this already downloaded, my modded Xbox. Anxious to do a Punisher, and I want to do some Punisher gaming art as well, which I think would be pretty cool. So got a lot of great ideas for the art thing. I appreciate your ideas, by the way. I had a lot of positive feedback when I asked for ideas for that, and Cyberpunk 2077. You can just imagine the possibilities, just endless configurations with characters. When I do a Duke Nukem cutout with just a cartoon of him cut out with the guns, and lots of cool, the Doom guy, I mean, all that stuff. Standing on a mountain of demons, and there's some really cool cutouts that I could do for game rooms. So I'm going to be working. That gives me something to do. It takes my mind off of my pain and back problems right now, which have been tough lately. Last week was a grinder. It was tough. I think I did a little too much gaming. I've been doing a lot more gaming between urban Chaos, and then my Call of Duty Big Red one, I've been putting in upwards of a couple hours a night. That's a lot for me in gaming with my back. Even laying down, I still kind of tense up. So I have to game for a couple days, and then I take a couple days off. So I'm getting better at it, and if it keeps up, I can start delving back into these modern games, I think, pretty soon. I'm getting more acclimated to laying down on my side where it unloads the pressure on my back, and I can game a little longer that way. It's just awkward. Still kind of awkward, but I'm getting acclimated with it, which is exciting. So, but the game collection's going well. I'm very excited. If you had to start today, my advice would be start out with a dozen games. Let's say get a PlayStation 2, a system that you can readily get, you could replace if it breaks very readily and easily. There's, God, thousands of games on the PlayStation 2. Start off with that, with maybe a dozen games that you really would love to have back and play again, or maybe that you didn't play that you'd like to play, and start with that and see how that goes. And if you enjoy that and want to do more of it, then you can certainly buy more. Go on eBay and spend a little bit more money, which it is expensive for some of them. But it can go well. I'm dying to play this Freedom Fighters. After I got this game from my good friend Steve the other day, got it back from him all polished out, I started going through this, and as soon as I finished the Big Red one, I think I'm either going to start the Punisher or Freedom Fighters and start getting into those. I'm just really enjoying the modded Xbox. And that was the other point, is that I'm at the point now where my collection's more or less done. I mean, I really don't need any more games. I have more than enough to play, more than enough to be appreciative and to be thankful for. And I'm just enjoying that process. As tough and limited as it is for me right now, I love going in the game room and just looking at all the games that I have that I play. I can only display about half of my original Xbox games. The other half, I've got them in a little cabinet down here in my dresser. I've got my dresser drawers I use to put all my Xbox games and PlayStation 4 games, and a lot of them that I can't display, sadly. But I can still look at them and kind of cruise through the titles and pick one out. And this is the process where I have just enough for me. 20 of this, a few of these, 200 of this. I mean, just enough to where I've got more than enough of what I need. I can play. If I want to play all the Halo games, I can now. I've got all the Halo games. I think Halo Reach is the only one I'm missing, and I'll eventually get that. I'd like to try those again. I tried Halo 2, God, a million years ago on the original Xbox. I'd like to give it another shot. I think I would enjoy it. And so I'm trying to get games that I could see myself playing. Alan Wake, I got rid of years ago. I only played a little bit of it. I should have given it more of a chance. So I bought that back. I have that back in my collection. I'm glad, because I will return to that. I even have the American Nightmare DLC because I like Remedy and I like to give that game a shot. So I've carefully thought. I love the internet because you can sit and research. I make a list of my games, and then I go through the games and I'll watch at least a couple reviews or some gameplay videos of each game. And I see how I like it. If it looks like it's something that I would see myself enjoying, well, then I'll put a little asterisk by it, like, yeah, I like that one. Definitely get that. Get that for the PS2. No, get this one for the Xbox where it's a multi-plat. And that's how I kind of whittle down my list. And then I go through that list and I'll check it over time. Sometimes I'll look for upwards of 2 years in the wild for something. And if I can't find it as a last resort, then I go on eBay and I'll order the games, I was almost about to, get this on eBay, and luckily I came across it, and luckily complete for $27. It's more than I wanted to spend, but this was kind of a holy grail for me. It's getting hard to find, and I think it's the best Predator game by far that's out there. It's a very good game, highly underrated. You can see some really dynamic reviews of this game. It's tough as hell. And so these are games that I want to get into and want to enjoy. And my collection's at that point now where I can enjoy it. Don't rule out old games. Just, I don't want to screw with all. I mean, some of them, they have, PC emulators to play PlayStation 2 games. I mean, some people are playing them that way. I would prefer playing them on the original, hardware, even via component cables with a newer flat screen TV. But it's very doable. Getting a retro collection, just to get a modest one to start with. It's worth having. That's why I gave Solid Rev my Xbox 360. I was thrilled that he wanted to go back and play some 7th gen games. Like, dude, it's worth it to me. Take this console. If it'll help preserve 7th gen for you, you're going to love going back and returning. Now, a lot of those games he can go with backwards compatibility on the Xbox One and play, but even still, in case there's games that, like Singularity, or ones that for all I know, you can't play as backwards compatible, but yet you'd like to give them a shot, you have a means to do that. So to me, it was worth it for that end. And that's why I try to keep my collection. I mean, I have backups now. I have an extra, Xbox 360. I would like to get a backup PlayStation 3. The one I have is very reliable, but just in case it breaks. But I got a couple PlayStation 2s and a couple PlayStation 1s and 2 Sega Genesis consoles, and I've got one Super NES, which is pretty bulletproof. So I'm pretty happy. Now I've got an Atari 2600, thanks to my friend Silverwings21, that I proudly display right up here by my window. I love that thing. I got it right next to my 1950 Westinghouse radio, and I just love seeing that wood grain, and the sun's hitting it right now just right, and it's just like it's been brought down by heaven and put on my table there. I love seeing it. It's so cool. Vinny's oversleeping by it. But that's my collection video. I wanted to kind of give you what inspired my collecting and how it kind of grew and how I shaped it. Be patient. Take the time to look. eBay, you can find almost everything, but I think a lot of stuff, people double and triple the prices on it because they can. They're hoping that someone's going to get gullible. Oh, look, there's the game. Oh, I'll pay for it. And $43 for a video game. And maybe they'll get it. It's sad because I remember a time where you could go on eBay and get things for pretty fair prices. You still can, but man, you got to look. It's getting harder and harder. The games are getting, now people are really getting into collecting this. Every one of the brothers kind of jumped on the bandwagon, and it's made it tough. So I'm glad that I got mine in a little earlier when I did. Not as early as my friend Jeremy and Silverwings21. Some of my buds that did it years before that were smart enough to keep their old systems and not get rid of them. They kept the old games. And then some of the games they had to rebuy, or their brother would end up and they'd have to get another copy or something. But better that than to have to start over like me. I'm still have about half of the strategy guides that I used to have. It's going to take me years to get them all back. But where we're going in Idaho, there's actually not one but two good retro gaming stores there, and there's some other old stores that sell old used DVDs and CDs and stuff. So not quite as vast as Dimples, but there's still some exciting ways that I can continue my retro collecting in the near future as I see it once we relocate. And I'm excited about that. I feel horrible about Dimples, just terrible news. That was a huge part of my collection. I mean, I wouldn't have a lot of what I have if it wasn't for them. So I wish them the best. I don't know if they might keep one store open. I've heard rumors. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But keep your collecting simple. Keep it simple. That's my advice. And look at what you really want and what you're committed to getting. And don't be afraid to spend a little more. Just because you see someone on YouTube that gets it for $1.50 doesn't mean that you have to, you're going to get it that cheap. Some of these guys are lucky. Some of them exploit others to get those kind of deals. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. I like to get mine clean and complete, so that's why I don't look in pawn shops or thrift stores. I want the manual and I want a clean disc. And most of my games, with the exception of maybe a dozen that need to have the disc polished out, are in pretty good shape. Not bad. So I'm real happy with what I've got presently. And eventually I started adding on to the PlayStation 1 games too, as I got a good working PS1 and could see the fun in those as I came across them. I'd look and I found most of what I want there too. So I'm pretty much done. I mean, I got maybe a 10 here and 5 there, and I'll have most of these collections done. But I could easily do it if I had the money, spend a couple $1,000 and boom, have them all done. But I'll wait. In time, I'll get the last couple here and there. But I'm very happy with what I have. It's been a very fun process. It's so exciting to get these games in my collection that I can look forward to going back to and returning to on the original hardware. To me, that's exciting. Because the games really don't age. It's we that age. And it's our perceptions that age, not the game. So the game is good in 1995 or 2005. It's good today. That's my motto, and that's what I'm going to start living by. And I'm having an awful lot of fun with these older games, which is just proof in the pudding right there. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave your comments about your game collecting, what you think of collecting in this day and age. And with the gaming art, too, what would you like to see? What would you think that would be a cool concept? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for your comments and for your support. I really do appreciate it. And above all else, enjoy those games in your game collecting.